Dave Verhaagen here. I'm part of the Shrink Tank podcast, and you probably have noticed we've been off for a while, and I'm going to let you know that we're going to continue to be off for at least a while longer. That's because most of our crew who makes this podcast possible are anchored in Charlotte, North Carolina. The two showrunners, Sean Beck and Mariel Butler, along with the panelists, Emma Kate, Frank, and Jonathan, are all there. We told people, let's not get people together in a small little studio, work from home as much as possible, which has made recording the podcast, at least as we have done it up to this point, pretty difficult. So we're going to figure it out. But in the meantime, I want you to have a few thoughts about how to be emotionally and relationally healthy during this pandemic. The first is, don't be selfish. Take only what you need. Remember, if you take something that you don't need, it means somebody else isn't getting what they need. I want you to think about it this way, not just with taking things, buying things, but also just how you interact with people and how you act in your life right now. Act in a way that you'll be proud of when all this is over. Think about it that way. Act in a way now that you'll be proud of when all this is over. The second is, I want you to practice radical acceptance. This is a concept in psychology that means when we really accept things as they are, we really accept the world as it is, not as it should be, not as we want it to be, but really as it is, then it still means that we feel different emotions. We can still feel sad, we can still feel worried, we can still feel anger, but we don't stay stuck in that. It allows us then to accept it and then to move into the life that we want. So practice radical acceptance. I'm going to talk more about that in just a minute. And the third is to stay connected, even during these times when we're kind of isolated from each other physically. Remember that in this time, social distancing means physical distancing, not emotional and relational distancing. So think about people that you need to stay in touch with and text them, email them, video chat them, Marco Polo, whatever it takes to stay in touch with those folks. Stay connected. Let me give you a couple of recommendations during this time of things that you can enjoy that will help you through this time of weirdness and isolation. Jonathan Hederley has made 3 recommendations of documentaries that I want to relay to you. The first is called Honeyland. The second is Minding the Gap. And the third is the Aretha Franklin documentary called Amazing Grace. He's recommending those 3 to you. He's also recommending 3 comedies to you. The first is Booksmart. It's like an updated John Hughes movie for our times. It's a high school comedy, very, very funny. The next is called Big Time Adolescence. It's the Pete Davidson comedy that's on Hulu. And the third is called Fighting with My Family. So those are his 3 recommendations. I'm going to make 3 recommendations also. If you've been missing late night television, and I love late night television, it's kind of how I go to bed at night. Before I go to bed, I watch Jimmy Kimmel, I watch Stephen Colbert, I try to watch or record Seth Meyers, and all the others. I really enjoy that. If you're really missing that like I am, then Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, and some others are posting shows from their home on YouTube, and some of those are definitely worth checking out. I want to recommend 2 books to you also. The first is called Me by Elton John. If you're in the mood for a good celebrity memoir, this one is well written, it's fun, it's funny, it's very interesting. I recommend it to you. And then the book that I think everybody should be reading is called The Happiness Trap. In particular, I'm going to recommend The Illustrated Happiness Trap. And this is a book that really teaches the understanding of what's called acceptance and commitment therapy. And that's the basis for what I was talking about with radical acceptance. So if you really want to understand radical acceptance and apply it to your life, especially right now, but at any time, especially right now, I'm going to strongly recommend The Illustrated Happiness Trap. All right, you've seen peeks of her already, so we're going to wrap up with a little guest appearance from Coco Bones. Coco Bones is our long-haired dachshund. I won't say she's sweet, but I will say that she is special. She has that temperament of long-haired dachshund, kind of aloof, kind of like over it, but she's who she is. She's named after a Disney star that was named Coco Jones, and one of my daughters was at the time kind of obsessed with Coco Jones, and so here we go, Coco Bones. Alrighty, that's it. Remember, we've been through bad things before, bad times before. We've been through a civil war, a deadly flu pandemic, a Great Depression, 2 world wars, 9/11, and much more. We're going to get through this. We're going to get through it together. So I want you to be smart, be safe, and be kind, and we'll see you guys later.